Hi, everybody. And I just want to start by saying that you're in good company today, and I'm not talking about Keith and I, because I just want to tell you what a few people that you may have heard about, whose names you may have heard, have said about Bill C-26. Retired Justice John Gomery said this legislation basically shows a mistrust of the judiciary to impose proper sentences when people come before them. Craig Jones, Executive Director from the John Howard Society. And I'll give you a few quotes. I could go on, but he says the feds will crack down with these mandatory minimums, but the provinces will be punished. Another judge, Judge Jerry Parody, spokesman for LEAP, said mandatory minimums are great motivators for trials, jamming up the courts. Unless a deal is struck, a charge carrying a minimum sentence will be fought tooth and nail. So I won't go on, but there are many people speaking out against Bill C-26. And basically, this is a bill that the Conservatives are selling as being tough on organized crime and big traffickers. And I think we all agree these are bad things. And if this bill were to really tackle that problem, I don't think we'd have a problem with it. But it doesn't. The reality is that mandatory minimums don't do that. They don't deter the organized crime. In fact, many people have suggested and have shown that in some cases they're the ones who benefit from that. So the real concern around Bill C-26 is it's a colossal waste of public resources. It does nothing to curb drug use, and in fact it will have many harmful effects. Putting resources where they shouldn't go. Right now in Canada, 73% of our funds go to enforcement, and a very small, minute percentage goes to treatment, prevention, where I think many, and harm reduction, where many of us would agree that's what's needed in Victoria right now to open drug use. What this will do instead is fill our prisons, create needs for new ones as it has in the States, and you know, those are the kinds of problems that it will create without addressing any of the real issues. What we've proposed, what many of us propose, and I think Keith and I agree on this, is that we need a balanced strategy around harm reduction, around prevention, around treatment, harm reduction, and enforcement. These have to be integrated. And mandatory minimums just lead to more incarceration. And, you know, and really what we're doing is following the George Bush failed strategy on drug use. And Canada, I think, deserves better than that. I've read somewhere that the cost to imprison someone in a maximum jail is something like $105,000 a year, and for a minimum or medium security is something like 71,000 or in that area, not far from that. And I think the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for a different outcome, and that's what we're doing in Canada by spending the bulk of our resources on directing it towards this increased enforcement and prison time rather than prevention, rather than treatment. And there, you know, in Victoria, from my time on Victoria City Council, I saw the need there is here and the problems that we're facing. And I know that this C-26 will not solve the problem and will only create more harm. So that's where we're going as a party. My colleagues and I will oppose this bill in its present form. There's a few pieces of it that I think need to be considered, We're hoping to bring it to committee, and I think we'll hear from Keith, but my sense is from talking to some of his colleagues that they will support us in bringing this to committee so that we can have expert witnesses, researchers, and people who are dealing with that issue on a day-to-day basis, and really open up for real solutions like harm reduction, like prevention, like treatment in Victoria. Thanks for your help. I just want to say, doesn't Ted look good in a suit?
Our next mayor.
Thanks, Denise. Thanks, Ted. Thank you all for being here today, ladies and gentlemen. This bill behind us is sort of a bill with two sides. One side, as Denise mentioned, is the side that actually deals with organized crime, who are the real parasites in our society. They're the ones who are profiteering off the status quo. The other side of this is a bill that, in many of our views, is extremely destructive. It's going to throw in jail young people who are going to be passing a small amount of marijuana from one person to the other. Those people